So a bike which I am very interested in the near future is this Yamaha R9, and it's looking like what I would consider to be a very, very cool, very fast, very interesting road-going sports bike. So Yamaha just announced it just a couple of days ago. And the closest thing I've got to it is I did a test ride of the Yamaha MT-09.
You get a little bit of an idea of its speed here.
And at no point when doing the MT-09 did I ever think it needed more power. The MT-10 I test rode after doing the MT-9, and I was even more impressed with the power of that. I think it was around about 170 horsepower, 165, 170 horsepower. The MT-09 being around about, hold on, I'll just get the volume down a little bit there. The MT-09 being around about 115 to 120 horsepower, give or take. What I am interested in the near future is some form of sports bike. So I currently have my Triumph Bobber, which I absolutely love, but something maybe with more horsepower, more sports oriented. But I think going to a naked bike is just too close to what the Bobber is. So I'm thinking more, the sports bike version of this sounds absolutely very cool. The thing about the MT-09, whenever I test rode that, is what a lot of people talked about was that the MT-09 has these sound inlets or sound outlets for the airbox for the engine, which everyone kind of go on about, say, oh, it really helps hear the sound. I didn't notice that at all. Once you've got a helmet on, once you've got your visor down, once you're going anything above 30 miles an hour, the tiny amount of sound coming out of there, it wasn't really having much audio effect for me. For me, it's all more about the exhaust on this. Additionally, the exhaust. What is the exhaust on this this R9 going to look like? Is it the tumor? It is. So it just looks like an absolute colostomy bags hanging out the bottom of the motorbike. Fingers crossed they don't make it too difficult to delete that and put in a proper decat exhaust there, so with an actual exhauster. Because it looks like a bag ready to be filled with poo, to just poo out your kind of crap at the bottom there. Is not a good looking thing. It's what's needed for it to pass all the emission tests. So it's just a massive catalytic converter in there with all the metals to take out all the particulates and all that kind of crap. But that is just the worst kind of. It's like, have you ever seen a cow taking a pee? It pees from underneath its body. It just like dribbles out poo and piss out underneath. This, I think, please, as soon as possible, Yamaha, get it with a proper exhaust, or if, the kind of exhaust companies make some cool ones, Austin Racing or Leo Vines or whatever it is. Just that exhaust is not a cool looking exhaust. And again, when I was riding the MT-09, it's the same exhauster. When I was riding the MT-09, at no point did I ever... Oh no, the MT-09 had a proper exhauster. So that was the more advanced version. That was the one with the Akropovich exhaust. Thank goodness for that. And that looks a lot better. Again, sound-wise, I didn't really hear much of a difference. It wasn't a massive raucous sound, unless there's a decibel... what was it, a dB filter that can be taken out. But it does still have the cat underneath, that one. But it's just got a proper looking exhaust, which I thought was a lot better. The MT-09 with that kind of front visor as well is quite forehead heavy, I thought, going on there. But certainly with the better exhaust, that just looks significantly better. And I think with the R9, if they can do that. The other thing, just to quickly go over, is the MT-09, with it being the upright, more comfortable position. I thought the seat was great. I thought the quick shifter was fantastic. The throttle control, quick shifter, I should say, was both up and down, so auto blipper on the way down. Definitely one of the best that I've ever used. It was better than the MT10's quick shifter, that's for sure. Maybe it's to do with the size of the engine, or a 3-cylinder compared to 4-cylinder, or whatever the clutch was. I don't know, but it was really good for up and down shifts. Very smooth and efficient on that. So I liked that a lot. But with it being an more upright, more comfortable position, it's more wheelie happy, and that's what some people look for. So I think if you watch the guys from 44 Teeth, their video reviews of it, they think it's great. They think fantastic. It's going to sound, it's going to be great for doing wheelies. As a rider that doesn't want to do a wheelie, because a wheelie could instantly end in a lot of pain and a lot of cost, I would rather a bike that wasn't wheelie happy. And I just felt that whenever I really pulled the throttle on this, it was getting lighter on the front. So there definitely felt a looseness to the handlebars whenever giving it a proper bit of gas on the front. You'll see here, I give it a good go here. So the thought of an R9 having full fairings, you potentially lose a bit of that sense of speed because you're taking out some of that because you're more aerodynamic. But if it means you're more over the front and it's less wheelie happy, then that might be definitely something which I'd be more interested in, more confidence inspiring here. Those of you that were wanting kind of a more horsepower, more than 120, what I would say is for the newer riders like myself, with the less experience, trying to get the full beans out of 120 horsepower, or 115, 120, somewhere around about there, is actually quite challenging. So you need a good bit of road, you need to be very confident where you're riding and all that kind of stuff. And what this certainly had was the torque in just a great place for absolutely pulling away from everywhere. Whether that translates to a more fun bike will be depending on the type of rider that you are or how you like your engines tuned here. But I definitely think if they can get the R9 to have a proper, just a normal looking exhaust, not the colostomy tumor bag that they've got coming at the bottom of the current ones, then I think that is it'd be more normal. So here I'm really pulling here, and it's not so much that it gets wobbly. It's like if you hit any bumps in the road when you're really going for it, or any undulations in the road when you're really going for it, because the front is definitely lighter than normal, it feels more unsettled. I certainly felt. So the thought of an R9 feeling more settled at higher speed, I think would be a benefit and give you more confidence of a ride. From what I'm seeing, other people say is that the seating position, and certainly even if you look at the person here, I'll put this over to the side. This person here, it looks like the amount of space that they've got for their butt to move forward and back. Their knees are quite tucked up, but their feet aren't all the way out the back there. Yeah, and if you hear what I was saying there before, what did I say?
Okay, so as with all these things, there's very little you can really tell from a 1 hour test ride. But first impressions and experience of what this is clearly capable of doing is nuts. Third gear up to 800 something miles an hour, clearly on a private enclosed road that I was doing that on. Yep. That's dangerously encouraging to do all sorts of illegal activities. Brilliant.
So that's my thoughts straight away, just from riding it for the 1 hour. What I would say is that although you can't tell much from just a 1 hour test ride, what you can get is that if after you've done that test ride, you're then still thinking about that bike for several days afterwards, then it's had a pretty good effect.
And the quick shifter up and down, yeah. Digging that. It's definitely better than the Kawasaki H2's quick shifter, I think. But anyway, let's give it another little bit of juice.
So yeah, I'll put a link to my initial review that I did, or the initial test ride, I should say, that I did of that bike. I certainly thought it felt cool, it felt fast, it felt powerful, it felt encouraging to do all that. And if you could have all that encouragement and feeling on a bike which is going to be maybe more aerodynamic, more race orientated, more forward leaning. Again, if you're having a bike which is literally just for weekend blasts and not for commuting every day. So that's the thing. I suspect that R9 will feel more special, being that sporty feeling there with the clip-on handlebars and all that kind of stuff. I think that you could easily have a two-bike garage. You can have an MT-09 for your commuting and your city riding, and you could have an R9 for your weekend blast. As I do suspect there will be a different sensation or a different feeling of speed and actual speed. So I think it will actually go faster and feel faster on the R9. So yeah, I'm looking very forward to hopefully get a test ride of that at some point whenever that comes over. But I think the first thing is just like, what is your initial impressions? Whenever you sit on it, do you instantly go, ooh, or do you think, ah? And certainly with the MT-09, I was so impressed with that engine. But I just thought it was just a wee bit skittery under full load when given its beans. So yeah, again, as a new rider, it's very difficult on UK roads, I must admit, on UK roads to get anything more out of an engine than 120 horsepower at its peak. So yeah, there you go, and its manoeuvrability as well. So, certainly on the MT-09, its manoeuvrability through town and through city was fantastic. Very good brakes as well on that. So yeah, anyway, I'll put the link to that video down below. But yeah, any criticism of the R9, I don't think is warranted yet, because I think that looks like it's going to be awesome.